Hey guys, Adam aka ACS Radical here. Let's just talk about some random shit. Let's step away from the news, the controversial, the I hate this, you like that, or I like this but you hate that kind of stuff. Let's just shoot the breeze on some concepts that everybody has a different idea on. So, I frequent along the interwebs every day. I look at some of the silly stuff and the booby pictures and stuff like that. But, every once in a while, I end up coming across something that, at least kind of gets me thinking a little bit. Or at the very least interests me. And while Kotaku tends to write a lot of crap, they end up always putting a few things in there that kind of get my mind going. Be like, oh, that'd be an interesting video, or at least a fun video to make. And they had a video conversation that was titled, do you play as a male or female in video games? That's pretty much the gist of it. So I thought that was an interesting concept, and I thought that would be something just kind of fun to talk about. This is not going to be something, obviously, it's going to be thought-provoking or anything that I seem to say tends to be controversial one way or another, I guess, nowadays. So, that might be out the window. But either way, it's just stuff for fun. It's just stuff it's food for thought. It's not really going to be anything that's like challenging. It's just, hey, this is why I do this. And, it's probably similar to you, or maybe you have a different idea on it and stuff like that. So when it comes to playing as a certain gender in a game, and this is assuming that you're in a create a character kind of model with games, like mostly MMORPGs are big for that. You get a lot of story-based games now that even do that. I think when it comes to whether I play as male or female, there's one big caveat that has to be figured out with that. And the main one for me has always been, is there an integral story that my personality needs to shine to make the story actually move? If I'm playing an MMORPG, like let's say I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, I don't have a voice in that game. I don't really get dialogue in that game. I'm just there and I'm fighting. That's when you have the freedom to really do whatever you want. But in a game like, say, Mass Effect or Dragon Age or stuff like that, where you can still create a character, but there is, a lot of dialogue, there is that emotional investment, there is that idea of having a certain personality with the character that you're portraying in this. And when I play games like that, while I do end up going the more fantasy route and having fun and doing stuff like that, when I always play these games for the first time, I always end up trying to put myself in the best way I can. So I'll try to make, that thin set character who has, short brown hair and, is either really logical or just loves to be stupid, like just loves to make puns and jokes all the time. And I try to come across like that in these games, and it's kind of fun to kind of put myself into that and play the game as if what I would do if I was, a trained badass space marine that, I totally could be one day. And, that's kind of how my thought process goes with that. I don't think too hard into it when it comes to these games. It's literally just, okay, first time in, get to experience a new story. I want to try to be as open and, I guess, like, unexpected to it. So instead of going in with a set character being like, all right, I'm going to play as this woman, and she's going to be nothing but an asshole to everybody, that's not really as fun when you're experiencing the story for the first time. At least for me, it's not. For some people, they might just like doing that. But for me, whenever I experience a story like this for the first time, I want to try to make it as close to me reacting rather than me playing a character. So that way, the story I get seems to be the most realistic and the most like engaging at first glance. And that's how it was with Mass Effect. When I played the original Mass Effect, I played as a guy. And then when I finally finished the entire series, I went back and played through all 3 games as FemShep. And I got to play it completely differently. I didn't play with the same realism to it. I basically just went in being like, okay, I'm going to be a witty asshole to people. And it's fun that way too. But I think it wouldn't have been nearly the same for me if I'd started like that and had gone that route with a story that I had never touched. Because I knew what was going to happen, I knew how I could kind of fiddle with that story to kind of match the character. Whereas I don't know if I would have made the right decisions to kind of create that character if I hadn't understood what was going to happen in the story. So I couldn't react to it in the way that I thought the character would have. Whereas if I'm playing as myself, essentially, in the game, it's a lot easier to react in the way that I would, because that's exactly what I'm doing. When the opposite is true, when it's not a story-driven thing, when there's no need for a personality to the character, then it's, quite honestly, unless, the options for female are really bad, I always go female in that case. And some people might think that this is disgusting, or some people might think that's sexist or misogynist or whatever the fuck, but you know how I feel about those people. The way that I look at when I play these kind of games is that, okay, if I'm going to stare at someone's ass for 100 hours, I at least want it to be an ass that I'll enjoy. And coming from a bisexual male, you're saying, well, obviously you probably enjoy a boy butt just as much. The reality is, generally speaking, in these kind of games, they don't really have that much of an ass. Like, most of the guys, they don't really show off too much, and most of their armor, because that's the way armor works in these kind of games, I guess. They're usually wearing bulky plate armor or something that just doesn't really show off any assets they have anyway. So, when you're going to face me with the choice of playing as a guy who is most likely going to have nothing but really like baggy pants or something like that on, towards a girl who wear their outfits that are basically like bikinis almost. And yeah, I do understand the sexism in that, and I do understand that is a little ridiculous. There's a great aside. I understand that it's kind of ridiculous that, if you're a level 40 warrior, if you're a male, you're probably wearing full-on body armor, and if you're a woman, you're probably wearing more like swimsuit armor. I get it. I absolutely get it. I think when it comes to armor sets, when it comes to these kind of games, I think there needs to be a little more fairness with it. Because I've said this before in my harem video, where I said, if you're gonna have girls like showering and undressing every 5 minutes in your show, you better at least have the balls to at least throw some boy butt in there, to at least show him changing and show him in the shower. And the same goes for these kind of games. If Monster Hunter, for example, and I haven't played as a male, so I don't know what the armor sets are like for every guy. But if you're going to have girls who are wearing short shorts, or sometimes it's even to the point that it's just bikini in terms of the bottoms, there better be guy armor where it's the same thing. Because we've seen it in terms of like when you got like Conan, the Barbarian, stuff like that, where there is the loincloth or the briefs kind of armor. I think that needs to be something that's there on both sides. So, and obviously, if that was the case, and I could create like a guy that matched sort of what I was looking for, then I would absolutely play as a guy whose ass I was going to stare at the entire time. But you don't usually get that option, so I kind of lean towards the female base. So, I get it. I absolutely get why people go to that method of things, but at the same time, it's also understandable why, people would be mad, and then people wouldn't care. I think either way, it's freedom of, artistic creativity, it's no different, if somebody does it if it was all guys to somebody who did it if it was all girls. I think it's fine either way, but, I'm at the point now where it's so dominated that women get that treatment that I think, okay, it's not that I don't want to see it go away, because remember, there is a huge difference when it comes to me and when it comes to what most feminists try to do. I'm not trying to censor it. I don't want it to go away. What I'm saying is you need to balance the scales, so we need to be doing the same to guys just as much as we do it to the girls. That's how I look at it. But yeah, going back to the main point here, that's just how I work with these kind of things. Like, I rather would just, when it comes to an MMORPG, or when it comes to a game like, say, Monster Hunter right now, I would rather just have a character that I can have an attraction to, or at least one that I can justify looking at for 100 hours straight. Because if the character doesn't look that great, it's not that fun for me. It's not that enticing. I am a looks-based person. I do like having things that are visually appealing. So when you implement things like that, I want to be able to have the ability to kind of have a character that I can at least not get bored of looking at. And that's the problem with a lot of games too, where you can't really change like the hairstyle or the skin tones at any point. Like you're stuck with that character. And I always hate that. It's one thing that I hate about Destiny, for example, where it's like, great, we're in the distant future where space travel is simple, but we can't get a fucking hairstylist. Like, there's stuff like that where it's just like, man, like, I want to be able to have the ability to constantly change my character at any time, so that way I can keep it interesting, because I can't imagine playing the same character so many times in a row. It doesn't seem like it would make any sense that way. That's just kind of how I look at that. So I want to know what you guys think about that. When you end up starting a new game, what do you like to play as? So let me know in the comments below. And thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you next time.